Well, hey everybody, we are going to do the reveal from the trip in Pitt County, North Carolina, where we walked the creek. And the main thing we were kind of going for there was some mammal bone fossils. The creek there is it's a well-known area to fossil hunt. It's right in the city. It's easy access, and it's a pretty good long creek, and it has a mixture of various formations, and it dates all the way back to the Cretaceous period, which is when we had dinosaurs, on up to the current time as well. Of course, not fossils from the current time, but we were very successful in finding some mammal bones, and we'll go over that. The first thing I kind of want to go over is uh, one of the first unique fossils, I guess I'm going to say, that we found was the belemnite, which is the belemnite americanus. And that is, I've got several of them, but you can see them here and kind of show them under the camera here as well. Let me get my focus spot. I'm not quite sure where that's at. There we go. Let's get it up here, right in there. And you can see what they look like. These were the rostrums that were toward the nose of basically what is an ancient extinct squid. And these are some of the best examples that I've found, and I've got many of these belemnites in the past. Even on this trip, I've got a good 20-25, I guess, but I had a bunch of long ones. Now, this one is one of the longest ones I found on this trip. Just a second. This one was the largest I had prior, and you can see quite a difference there. We'll show it underneath the camera here too. It's just a huge difference in the ones that I found on this part of the trip. So I was real happy about that. We've got some stuff that we're going to throw in the display case from this trip because of it. And one of the other things that we ran across was some exogyras, and I only brought one back from this trip, and that was this one. It was pretty much bleached out from the sun, I'm guessing. You can see it here. It's just a very bright white, but it's a very small example. Now I've got, like I said, I've collected from there many times before, and this is an example of one that I've pulled from there. And one of the things I like to get from there is, when I can, is to get the complete shell. So I was able to find this one on a previous trip, and then this is the other part that closes up in there, and cleaned it off, of course. But so I'm happy with this particular one, and you can see it here under this camera. And then this is the closing part of the bivalve there. And so this one stays in my case, of course. So, but this is one of my one example of an exogyra that I have, and I do have some other ones that aren't on display as well. But that exogyra is one of the shells that I showed often, that was sitting in the water often. They were green on that trip, and you can see some of it here, some of the footage. Now, I mentioned that what we were really going after was mammal bones, and we got uh, 12 of them here, and to show you some examples of it, this is these were likely baleen whales, an extinct baleen whale, and this would be one of the ribs, and you can see it under the camera here. What it looks like, it's still a little damp, as you see, and I mean it's a good length. It is probably 5-6 inches, and then we've got several of these parts too. Again, these more than likely just chunks of rib is what's very common. The other whale that it could have been was from a sperm whale, but I was told that there's mostly baleen whales that we'll find the fossils from in that area. And again, we'll pull it here to this camera, and you can see what they look like there. Just make sure they're in focus at some point there for you. There you go, and right there. But we got, so I was very pleased with that. Of course, we got, smaller chunks as well, stuff like that. But I like to hold on to these, even the smaller chunks, as pieces that I can hand out. In fact, we're going to be giving some to one school here very soon. They're going to be studying fossils as the year closes out, and I'm going to have some grab bags with some of these fossils in there. One of the things I'm not sure exactly what it is this piece here. Now this is fossilized, and looking at the edges, it is bone. I'm just not sure what from. And as you can see, typically we find these dark ones. You can see it's very dark there. I'll pull it up under the camera here, and you can see this is what the piece looks like that I kind of question. But this is the color of your typical mammal fossil bone that you find in there. So if you have any idea what this is, I would love for you to leave a comment. But I just haven't ran across anything like this, especially out of that creek. There's a couple of others, rocks that are interesting, and that would be these two here. And I don't know if these are like a toe bone that's just well worn. Tooth maybe that's split apart and worn. You can see them in here. Let me get you in focus right in there, and you kind of see what that looks like and why I'm questioning it. And then the same thing with this one. Again, this could just be a happenstance that it's just river rock worn, interestingly. But we did collect those. But that's the fun of it, is once you get some of this stuff, and then, in the beginning, when I started collecting and fossil hunting, I wasn't sure what exactly this was, and I just had to keep researching and looking what comes up in those formations, and then checking what other people find and how they're identified, and that's how I began to kind of figure some of this stuff out. So we had a very good trip. Again, most of this is going to be the belemnites. Again, these are two of the longer ones I found on this trip that you see right here. Get it in focus. These are from the Cretaceous, so we're talking 66 million years ago. Same thing with the Exogyra. These are likely Cretaceous period. Then the bones were looking more in the Pliocene. So just, 3 million years old, something like that. but there's an abundance of them. And this creek runs right down the middle of the city. And we're about 120 miles inland, 100 miles inland. But there used to be an ocean there. In fact, there used to be the ocean or the sea there a couple of times in the past, and it just kept washing back and forth. So I hope you enjoyed kind of how we do this reveal. And what we'll do is we'll have a out in the field video, and then we'll do the reveal video and kind of go over what we find. And I hope that helps you learn what we do for yourself, and you can teach me some things, because I'm not, I'm somewhat new to this whole fossil hunting paleontology thing, but I have fell in love with it. So like, subscribe if you like this stuff, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.